this is Roger. Thanks for dropping by again. I'm going to have a go at this giant anosmum that came in the box. And this has been wired in, so we've got the wire cutters to snip the wire at the bottom of the pot. I've fiddled with the camera angle, so the camera is now higher and pointing downwards. That achieves two things: I hope you'll see better, and two, you don't have to keep looking at my face, because I know it spoils the plant. Anyway, if I cut that, then if it's holding anything, it isn't anymore. That's just come out, that's good. There's also a stick across the base of the pot, yeah, that's actually wedged in. It won't push through, so I'm going to cut that. Just break it in the middle basically, then it will bend. Now in theory, the plant should now come out. Cut that stick a bit better than that. Get it right out of the way. Right, I don't hold out a lot of hope for a decent root system here, and I'm right. That has all the hallmarks of a recent import that was bare rooted and somebody has just shoved it in a pot, jammed it in and sold it. So I'm not actually too pleased about that. And those roots have just been cut off. So there was a root system there and it's just been hacked, chopped. But we do have one new growth, and I can see signs of a second and possibly a third. So we will get new canes, and those new growths on the new canes will push out a brand new root system. In the meantime, the canes have got no leaves, so they haven't got to support anything without roots, if you see what I mean. Whatever sugars and energy and things that are stored in those canes are effectively stuck in there because they've got nowhere to go except for this one new growth that started at the moment. Yeah? And with that number of canes, there's more than enough stored energy for that cane to grow in full with no roots. So in this case, not having a good root system is acceptable. But I'd love to know where this has come from. I hope this hasn't been yanked off a tree in the wild in some country where you can get away with doing that, and then exported into a country, into a good nursery that should know better than take plants collected directly out of the wild. And that makes me party to it by buying it, doesn't it? Which I would never intentionally do. So if I have done it inadvertently, I'll apologise to the world for depleting the wild orchid stocks. It's not on. Anyway, I'm happy that the plant will recover, and the fact that that's got so few roots, I want to mount it so that it can hang. Yeah, it will hang. Just about. It's going to hang outwards because I'm going to have to strap it. Okay, I've got a nice sturdy piece of bark that's already got a hook on it. And, that's just been completely covered in hydrogen peroxide and left to soak for some time. And then it got sprayed again and left for some time. And then it had boiling water poured over it and left to soak. And then it had some more boiling water poured over it and left to soak. And you know why? Because of the last plant that lived on there was, let's just say, not a happy plant. So that had to be thoroughly disinfected, which is, I'm happy that that has happened. So that's what I'm going to mount it on. I was going to say hang on while I clear up, but I've cleared up. There's nothing to clear up, but I haven't got any moss out, and I don't think the fishing line may be sufficient. I may need to wire this in place, so I'll go and get my thin wire that I can use for that, get myself some moss sorted out, and I'll be back. Okay, let's see what we can do then. As I said, I haven't got a root system to tie the plant on, so I will have to actually tie the plant. And I've got my very small gauge wire. That's the normal gauge wire you've seen me use before for my hooks and things, and that's the much smaller gauge. The reason being that's incredibly bendy and flexible, and I can put it where I want, but it's incredibly strong as well, so it can be pulled tight. So that's the theory. Now, I don't want a huge amount of moss, because what I really want is for the new roots to get into some moss and be hydrated. Not sure I should be mucking about with this lot with an open wound, but never mind, I'll live. So I don't want a huge amount of moss. I just about want enough for the new roots to have some moss to get into and then extend outwards and attach to the mount. Again, same as the logic of one of the others you saw me mount. It's going to have to go into a winter rest at some time. And if I've got tons and tons of moss in the winter time with low temperatures, it just won't dry out. So I'll need to hydrate the plant now and again, but I don't want it dripping wet. So a small amount of moss. So I'm pressing it as hard as I can to hope it'll stay there. Yeah, that'll be the day. Okay, right, that's that. Now, obviously the new growth I can visibly see, I want to be at the top of the mount, and any new growths that come out after that can make their own way outwards and downwards. I'm going to bend that root system like that so that it fans. And the plant lends itself to going like that. In other words, the canes are linear, and this new growth is continuing in the line, even though it's at a slightly different angle. You can see the original cut where it was taken off of a large plant, probably. That's alright, it's clean. I'm paranoid now. Every time I see a cut through a rhizome, I have to have a good look at it and get my colour spectrum glasses on. Okay, so that's how it's going to have to go. And the only way I'm going to secure that, I think, is with wire. So it's because it's not even going to stay there long enough for me to get some wire around. So I'm only going to put one loop of wire around, and I'm going to put it around the base of all those canes. They are old leafless canes. Some of them are not as old as others, but in time they will get trimmed off. So if there's a slight bit of damage at the base due to the pressure of this, so be it. I still need the plant to stay there and be firm so that it doesn't wobble around when the new delicate roots come out. So missing out altogether the new growth, and this cane sticks up. That one is one of the really old ones and will probably be the first cane to be removed. Maybe at the end of this year, maybe not. Okay, the plant medium height so the roots can go in all directions and have the same amount of mount to go to. Alright, I'm just going to leave that there for a minute. In fact, I don't need to leave it there for a minute. I can wire that straight on and then come back with the fishing line and tie some moss on. So I'm just going to turn that over. I know the plant's in place, and I've just caught the wire on the end of my cut, which probably means we're going to get some red stuff all over the place any minute now. Nope, it's just about hanging together. The trouble is it's only just healed. I wanted to let the air get to it, and then I promptly got my hands soaking wet and covered in stuff, which wasn't the best of ideas. As I said, I'll live. Right. And you've seen me do this sort of thing with my bonsai, yeah, where I twist and pull at the same time. And gradually, as the twists climb down the wire, they pull it tight until it won't twist anymore, in this case with this wire, without breaking, because this wire does have a limit. It has a tension limit whereby it will snap, whereas that big thick stuff you can twist forever and it won't snap. Right, have we got hold of the plant? We have. Have we cut into the canes? We haven't. Yay. Right, so I'm happy with that, and I don't want to snag myself on that great bit of wire with the jagged ends, so I'll give them a nice clean cut and tuck the jagged bit on the inside where I can't catch it on my little pinkies. Right, now do I need any more moss? I think I would like a little more moss in under there. Not a lot, not a lot, but I want some in there to keep the base of that plant hydrated, because that's where the new roots are going to come out. And then they've got something to get into, but they can get out of it again quite quickly by doing their growing thing. So they get hydrated on emergence, keeps them nice and green tipped, and then as they head onwards and outwards, they will find space, or they will find bark, and either way is good. Aerial roots on this type of plant are great. Right, I'm just going to put a couple of turns of fishing line to hold the moss in place, not the plant. The plant's well and truly firm. That's not going anywhere. It's quite a heavy plant, you know. I mean, that would be quite a strain, you know, when you've got loads of roots and you've got several turns of whatever you use to tie. There are lots of places that the plant is being held, not just one place. So there's a lot of pressure points to hold the weight, but when you haven't got roots, that isn't true. So the plant can tug quite dramatically. Right, all I'm doing at the moment is just holding the moss in place, so this is just no big deal. I can just put a loop round any old way really, because I'll do several turns. That looks about right for a first turn. Pull that tight. Turn number one. Let go. I'm standing on it. I was like, come on, move. I'm actually standing on the end of it. Well, that'll explain why it won't move. As I said, all I'm doing is securing the moss. I'm not really securing the plant. That's already secure. So I'm just giving the moss a little bit of a tie. And is it worth it? Yeah, I was just going to say, and I'll put a turn underneath all those canes, but on top of the moss. Ow! So, caught my cut again. That's probably opened it. Felt that one tug. Yeah, that'll do. Yeah, here we go. Red stuff everywhere. All the squeamish, turn away. All those hardy sorts. Bled all over the plant now. Hang on, let me just stop and I don't want to get blood on the camera or anything silly like that. Right, stop the red stuff pouring out for a bit. It's all over the mount. Well, they say blood and bone is good for feeding plants. Well, you can have a bit of blood, but you're not having any bone. Right, and again, I don't really think I need a tag. I'm not really going to forget what plant this is, am I? There's nothing else looks like it in the grow room. Well, I'll tell you something else, you know, when you've got a nick or something, or a cut like this is, go study what you do with hydrogen peroxide. That's smart. Better still, don't play around with plants until stuff's healed properly, Roger. Never mind. I'll survive. It survived a lot worse than that. So there we go. I don't know whether that's not still in shot, is it? Let's just move round a little bit. There we go. So it's on its mount. Whoops. You don't want to see that, do you? Yeah, and its latest growth is pointing downwards. Any subsequent growths can go where they choose. But there we go, one giant Dendrobium anosmum, mounted. A sacrifice I made for it. I'll remember that, you better grow now. Okay, thanks for dropping by and watching my mounting escapades, and see you again next time. Okay, just a quick look at the anosmum now. It's sort of back in situ, so you get more of an impression of the scale of it. So say the canes on that are not far short of 1 metre long. That's some plant. So we just need it to grow now. I still don't see any reason why it shouldn't. You know, I mean, a lot of these totally deciduous dendrobiums do lose their root system and grow a new one along with the new canes. So as long as it pushes out some new canes, even if this year it only grows that one, it'll still push out a new root system. But I'd rather it went into its rest period with more canes than one and with a decent root system, and it'll stand its winter rest a bit better. Quite honestly, I think if you've got a weak plant that shouldn't have a winter rest, oh, right in my ear hole, it's not that good an idea to rest and withhold water from a plant that's weak. I think you're better off growing it on that year and through the next growing season until you've got a nice strong plant, and then take it into the rest. Okay, you may lose your blooms for a year, but what you won't do is lose your plant. Okay, yeah, I'm quite pleased with that. It's a long time since I've had to wire something onto a mount because it's so heavy, but we'll see how that progresses. Updates will follow as usual. Thanks for watching.